All right, let's talk about something I'm willing to bet a lot of you have experienced, even if you couldn't put a name to it: the silent treatment. And just to be clear, we're not talking about a nice, peaceful moment of quiet here. No. We're talking about something far more calculated, something that's used as a psychological weapon and can cause some serious harm.
We usually think of silence as a good thing, right? A way to find some calm, to reflect. But what happens when that silence isn't your choice? What happens when it's forced on you, used against you, like a punishment? Well, that's exactly when it flips from being peaceful to being a genuine threat.
So first things first, we've got to draw a really clear line in the sand. We need to figure out the difference between someone just needing some quiet time to themselves, which is totally healthy, and someone using silence as a weapon. It's basically psychological warfare. Okay, so here's the official definition. And the key word here, the thing that changes everything, is deliberately. This isn't just someone being quiet or needing space. It's a conscious choice. The whole point is to punish someone, to control them, or to manipulate them into doing what you want. It's silence with an agenda. And believe me, it's not a good one. And this is so important to get. Look, if someone says, "Hey, I'm pretty upset right now. I just need an hour to cool down before we talk about this," that's healthy. That's setting a boundary. The silent treatment is the complete opposite. It's when you have a fight with your partner and then, poof, they're gone. Radio silence. No texts, no calls, for days. You're just left hanging in this awful void wondering what you did wrong. That is calculated silence. So you have to wonder, right? If this is so damaging, why on earth do people do it? Why is silence their weapon of choice? Well, as we're about to see, it really all boils down to two things: power and control.
And this chart just breaks it down perfectly. Taking healthy space, the goal is to cool off, to de-escalate. The silent treatment, the goal is to punish. One is a team effort, trying to make things better. The other is a one-sided move to take charge. It's really the difference between hitting pause to figure things out and just yanking the cord out of the wall.
So you see what's happening here? The person doing this gets a huge sense of control because they make the other person absolutely desperate for any kind of attention. And the really insidious part? They can cause all this pain without ever saying a word, without raising their voice. It makes it so hard to fight back against. It's their way of winning the argument without ever having one.
And it should come as no surprise that this is a classic move in really toxic relationships. It's a go-to tactic for narcissists, for manipulators, for people who frankly have trouble with empathy and feel this deep need to be in charge. A lot of times it's coming from their own hidden insecurities.
But here's where this gets even crazier. The damage, it's not just in your head. It's not just about hurt feelings. The silent treatment leaves an actual, measurable, physical impact on your brain. I mean, just read that quote, "feeling invisible and worthless." That really hits home, doesn't it? Because that's exactly what it does. It attacks this fundamental need we all have to feel connected. When someone you care about just erases you with their silence, they're basically screaming at you, "You don't exist. You don't matter." It's no wonder people feel invisible. And here is the science to back that feeling up. It's absolutely wild. That ache you feel from being rejected, it's not just a metaphor. Your brain literally processes it in the exact same way it processes physical injury. To your brain, the pain of being ignored is no different than the pain of, say, a broken leg. Pain is pain. And it happens right here, in a part of the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex. Think of it as your brain's alarm system. And it actually makes a lot of sense from an evolutionary perspective, right? Back in the day, getting kicked out of your tribe was a death sentence. So our brains evolved to treat social rejection as a 5-alarm fire, just like a physical wound. It literally lights up on an MRI scan. So when someone says this stuff hurts, they mean it, literally. And this damage, it just gets worse over time. In the beginning, you feel confused, anxious. You start doubting yourself. But when this becomes a regular thing, a pattern, the long-term damage is just devastating. It chips away at your self-esteem, can lead to chronic anxiety, even symptoms of PTSD. We're talking about scars that can last a lifetime, way longer than any bruise. Okay, so we know what it is, why people do it, and how much it hurts. That's the first step. Now for the most important part, how do you fight back? How do you disarm this weapon and protect yourself? Here it is, your 3-step plan. And step 1 is by far the most important. Do not pursue. Don't play their game. See, the person doing this wants you to beg. They want you to chase them. That's their power trip. The second you refuse to do that, you take all their power away. Instead, you just calmly state your boundary and then you go talk to someone who can remind you that you're not crazy. What's happening is not okay.
And this is the bottom line, really. Your mental health has to come first. You can't make somebody treat you with respect. If this is something that happens over and over again, sometimes the strongest, healthiest thing you can possibly do is to walk away, to choose yourself.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. If communication is what builds bridges between people, creating connection, trust, all the good stuff, what does weaponized silence build? Well, it doesn't build bridges. It builds walls. And those walls are designed to isolate, to punish, and in the end, to destroy. Thanks for tuning in.